Thank you for joining us this morning. It is Thursday, July 5th. Coming to you live from Seoul, I'm Shin Se-min. And these are the stories we're following at this hour. It started with the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, and now it's a joint basketball friendlies in North Korean capital of Pyongyang. 2 more matches are coming up today, but will Kim Jong-un be there to watch? Diplomats of related parties are continuing their close cooperation in regards to North Korea's denuclearization. America's top diplomat Mike Pompeo is to head over to Pyongyang for what will be the first high-level talks following last month's Singapore summit. The current account surplus hits over $8.5 billion in May over a sharp increase in the goods account surplus and stakes in overseas investment. It's the biggest monthly figure since September of last year. Now let's start with the two Koreas courting peace in their first basketball friendly in a decade and a half. Well, over 10,000 North Koreans packed a Pyongyang gymnasium on Wednesday for 2 rounds of mixed matches for both women and men, meaning that each team was comprised of both South and North Korean athletes. Our Oh Jung-hee starts our coverage.
Sports diplomacy continues on the Korean peninsula. The South-North Unification Basketball Games kicked off in Pyongyang's Ryugyong Cheongju Gymnasium on Wednesday. For the first time in 15 years, South and North Korean basketball players had a chance to play on the same court and as one team. Despite a lot of speculation, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who's known for his love of basketball, did not attend Wednesday's games. But high-level officials from the two Koreas were there. North Korea's sports minister Kim Il-guk expressed hope the two Koreas could do more in their sports exchanges in the future.
The basketball games are a happy occasion for the Korean people, organized by the leaders of the two Koreas who are aiming to bring down the barrier of division and put forward reunification. Through the games, the athletes will be able to treasure the affection and trust of one people.
And South Korea's unification minister Do Myung-gyun responded that sports are paving the way for inter-Korean interactions.
Through the Panmunjom Declaration, South and North Korea are moving towards a new era of peace and prosperity, and sports exchanges are on the forefront of that. The basketball games especially will contribute greatly to expanding sports interaction and boosting reconciliation.
4 games were scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday. On Wednesday, the teams were a mix of South and North Korean players. And on Thursday, the two Koreas will compete against each other. They'll be divided by color only, one in red and the other in blue. It's been agreed that national flags or anthems won't be used. The games are not being televised live, but South Korea's major domestic broadcasters will show them next week. Oh Jung-hee, Arirang News.
Officials from the two Koreas met on Wednesday to discuss ways to cooperate in the forest sector. Both agreed on various practical steps to protect their forests, including conducting joint on-site studies in the coming weeks. Our Park Hee-jun with more.
South and North Korea have agreed to take joint action to protect their forests against disease and insect pests. The decision comes after the two sides held working-level talks on Wednesday at the Peace House, a building on the southern side of the Chu's village of Panmunjom. Seoul's Unification Ministry says the two Koreas will work together on disease and insect pest control, mainly targeting areas near the inter-Korean border. To do so, they will send teams to the site in mid-July to figure out the exact conditions in the area. The two sides also agreed to take step-by-step measures in projects that are key to conserving forests, including modernizing forest nurseries, preventing forest fires, and erosion control. There will also be an active exchange of know-how on forest development and protection. At present, there's no data available on the condition of North Korea's forests. However, according to South Korea's Unification Ministry, about a third of the previously forested area in the north had been destroyed as of 2008. The country is known to be in need of support to fight problems caused by excessive logging and farming. The discussions are the latest in a series of meetings between the two Koreas, aimed at implementing the April 27 Panmunjom Declaration, which focuses on expanding inter-Korean exchanges in various sectors. The two governments plan to communicate through the exchange of documents on issues that could come up along the way while carrying out the agreements. Park Hee-jun, Arirang News.
And as we just heard there in our Park Hee-jun's report, the two Koreas held talks on amping up North Korea's forestation project. It's a serious issue within North Korea, and environmentalists say the problem should be addressed as quickly as possible. In a part 2 of our two-part series report, our Cha Sang-mi tells us more.
With so much cooperation on various fronts now, the two Koreas are looking at restoring the forests the North has lost. They've been decimated in the past few decades.
We think that from 1990 on, almost 40% of the forest cover of North Korea either disappeared or degraded severely, so that we can speak now of a serious crisis of deforestation leading to soil erosion, flooding, problems with water management, and lower harvests.
To tackle this pressing issue, delegations from Seoul and Pyongyang met on Wednesday to discuss the details of joint forestation projects in the north, which have been degraded by overlogging and farming. When it comes to forest degradation in general, an expert says there are many different reasons for it, and the consequences, he says, are scary.
Research shows the overuse of land is the main reason. Some of the ways are intense farming, the use of large amounts of fertilizer, and forest reclamation. If this continues for a long time, nature's ability to restore the forest fails, and it becomes very difficult.
When it comes to forest restoration in North Korea, the expert says first will come research and joint studies. It's necessary to define the tree species and measure the exact areas where there's damage. Based on that research, they can make plans. They will need to define zones because the restoration process differs for each region. The climate ranges from temperate to subtropical and alpine in the north. Next comes implementation. In this stage, the first step is to plant saplings, but North Korea might lack the infrastructure for this. It will require technical support and know-how from experienced South Korean government agencies and institutions. Although the scheme looks simple, experts say the North Koreans have devised a 10-year plan to grow new forests. Even school children are mobilized to go plant new trees and water plants.
We think maybe just of the beauty of it, but it's much more a pressing issue. And to give you one example, and the big flooding came, a complete village disappeared. And it is related to the problem that there was not sufficient tree cover. So landslides came down and killed probably several dozens or maybe many hundred people there. So it is an issue of life and death for them.
Yet when it comes to developing the Korean peninsula, the expert says finding a balance is key. A balance between making life more comfortable and preserving the habitats of plants and animals. Cha Sang-mi, Arirang News.
South Korean Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-hwa will be flying to Tokyo this Sunday to meet with their American and Japanese counterparts following U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's visit to North Korea this week. Pompeo is scheduled to depart for Pyongyang later on Thursday local time in what would be the first high-level exchange between the two sides since the summit in Singapore last month. And Seoul's foreign ministry says Kang will hold two-way talks with Pompeo to receive the details of his latest trip to Pyongyang and to discuss future steps to achieve peace and denuclearization on the Korean peninsula. Kang will also hold trilateral talks that includes Japanese Foreign Minister Taro Kono, and with Kono in place, Kang plans to exchange views on issues of mutual interest, including South Korea-Japan relations and the situations on the Korean peninsula. Thanks to strong semiconductor exports, South Korea's current account in May saw its largest surplus in 8 months. The Bank of Korea's latest balance of payments report showed a near $9 billion current account surplus in May, its largest surplus since last September. The goods account posted a surplus of near $11 billion, the largest figure since last November, on the back of strong exports. But the service account posted a deficit of $2 billion due to a traveled account deficit. The number of Chinese visitors to South Korea increased by about 46% on year, but outbound travelers grew by nearly 16%. The Trump administration has imposed tariffs on goods ranging from steel and aluminum to washing machines. And a fresh report by South Korea's National Assembly shows that Korea could suffer losses due to the growing trade protectionist moves. Our Kim Hae-sung tells us more.
An export loss of around 2.6 trillion Korean won or $2.3 billion US dollars. Report by the National Assembly's Budget Office on Thursday shows South Korea could suffer a loss of more than $2 billion due to the U.S. import restrictions on Korean steel, washing machines, and solar cells. It estimated the regulations could also result in the loss of up to 16,000 jobs. South Korea is exempt from the Trump administration's 25% tariff on steel, but it has received a quota of about 2.68 million tons of steel exports, or 70% of the annual average Korean steel exports to the U.S. between 2015 and 2017 as part of an amendment to the South Korea-U.S. Free Trade Agreement. South Korea is not allowed to export steel products exceeding that quota to the U.S. market. The report says the quota could lead to a potential loss of $1.2 billion, including over 6,500 job losses. Korean washing machines also face safeguard measures for 3 years starting 2018, and it's expected to result in even greater job losses, but mainly outside of Korea, as most washing machine exports to the U.S. are produced abroad. Solar panel exports are also under fire. A 30% tariff is applied after the first 2.5 gigawatts in the first year, falling to 15% by the fourth year. The report says the safeguard measures on solar panels could lead to a loss of $470 million and slightly over 1,300 jobs in the industry. Kim Hae-sung, Arirang News.
With the United States and China threatening to impose similarly sized tariffs on July 6th, many speculate with the time difference that China's tariffs on U.S. imports could take effect earlier. But China has denied it will strike first, insisting it will not apply tariffs before a move by Washington. According to a statement by the Chinese Finance Ministry on Wednesday, China will not fire the first shot and will not implement tariff measures ahead of the United States doing so. The U.S. plans to implement a 25% tariff on $34 billion worth of Chinese imports starting Friday. South Korea is launching an ocean business promotion agency this Thursday to boost the flagging maritime industry. Also part of the Moon Jae-in administration's policy agenda, the so-called Korea Ocean Business Corporation will attempt to revive a flagging industry that used to be the backbone of the country's economic growth and job creation. The industry has been reeling from massive job losses and Hanjin Shipping's bankruptcy back in 2016. The launch comes just a year after the government first proposed the agency, and the official launching ceremony is happening now as we speak in the southeastern port city of Busan. It's been revealed that South Korea's National Assembly spent over $21 million on special activities expenses from 2011 to 2013. Now, the information was finally revealed on Wednesday, 3 years after a civic group filed for a disclosure request. The figure were included in the more than 1,500 pages of statements that were made public. Quote, special expenses that covers funds used for lawmakers' travel, food, and entertainment. Now, there have been mounting questions over where and how the Assembly's budget is being spent. As the civic group says, Parliament should prove how it uses the various expenses or cut them. Korea's southern resort island of Jeju is looking to introduce a special tax on tourists, dubbed an environmental tax, to try to address the increasing costs of preserving Jeju's pristine environment. Our Kim Yo-san reports.
Jeju Island is considering levying an environmental tax for visitors in the coming years. The number of tourists to Jeju Island has increased steadily to reach nearly 14.7 million last year. Jeju Island officials say the influx of tourists has led to increased pollution, waste, and traffic congestion. As a result, cleanup costs are mounting.
Surveys conducted on people in the tourism industry, including tourists, call for the implementation of such a system. Once the taxation starts, we aim to use the funds to preserve Jeju's environment and vitalize ecological tourism.
The environmental tax will be set at nearly $1.3 per hotel guest and $4.50 for each rental car customer a day. While those who rent electric vehicles will get a 50% discount on the tax, a single tourist visiting Jeju Island will have to pay $7.3 a day on average. Jeju Island plans to begin imposing the tax in 2020, following further discussions with the central government and after enacting related legislation. However, the road to implementing such a system looks to be bumpy, as it could raise the issue of fairness compared to other local tourist hotspots, and the new tax would require a change to the law. Kim Hyun-sun, Arirang News.
A new video of 12 boys and their football coach trapped inside a flooded cave in Thailand have emerged, showing they are in good health. For more on this and other news around the world, we turn to our Aram at the news center. Aram, now despite their situation, the group seems to be in high spirits.
That's right, so the 13 have now been trapped inside the flooded cave for 11 days. They were found on Monday and have since been given food and medical treatment. On Wednesday, the Thai Navy SEALs released new video footage of the boys and coach wrapped in foil blankets for warmth. They spoke one by one, introducing themselves, saying they are healthy and thanking rescuers who are working out how to get them out. Officials say their extraction could take months, as they either have to learn how to dive or wait for water levels to subside. Thailand's Deputy Prime Minister Prawit Wongsuwan said the group is being taught how to swim and dive at the moment, but he did note that the current in the water is strong and the space is narrow, adding the team would be taken out quickly once water levels fell. However, there are several hurdles. It is believed most of the boys don't know how to swim. Even the most experienced divers took an exhausting 3 hours to reach the group, located 4 kilometers away from the cave entrance. It is also the start of the monsoon season, which is likely to see the water rise even higher. Motorized pumps are draining the cave at about 1.6 million litres an hour, but heavy rain is likely to slow that process. British counter-terrorism police say that a couple in their 40s who fell critically ill in South England are believed to have been exposed to a similar substance to the one used to poison a former Russian spy and his daughter 4 months ago. For more on this story, Lee Seung-jae reports.
British police have declared a major incident early Wednesday after a man and woman in their 40s are believed to have been exposed to the nerve agent Novichok, the same substance that was used to poison a former Russian spy and his daughter in a nearby area earlier this year.
However, I can confirm tonight that there has been a significant development and that the counter-terrorism policing network is now leading the investigation into this incident. This evening, I've received test results from Porton Down that show that the two people have been exposed to the nerve agent Novichok.
The man, 45, and woman, 44, both British nationals, remain in critical condition in hospital after being found unconscious at a residential building Saturday evening. A spokesperson for the Prime Minister says the incident is being treated with the utmost seriousness as a special national security committee met Wednesday morning. British police have closed off at least 5 different areas in Salisbury, but stated that based on the small number of casualties, it's not believed that there's a significant health risk to the general public. However, residents worry as the latest incident echoes the poisoning of Sergei Skripal earlier this year. Skripal, a former Russian intelligence officer, was convicted of spying for the British before coming to the UK as part of a 2010 prisoner swap. The former spy had been living in Salisbury, a city located 90 miles southwest of London, where he was poisoned along with his 33-year-old daughter, who was visiting him. It's been reported that the British couple had been visiting the historic town of Salisbury before being found 8 miles away in Amesbury. They're currently being treated at Salisbury District Hospital, the same hospital where Skripal was treated. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
In other news, Syria's military and its Russian allies resumed airstrikes on rebel-held areas in the south of the country on Wednesday after rebels said talks over a peaceful government takeover had failed. The assault targeted areas in and around the provincial capital Daraa, which borders Israel and Jordan. The rebels had been negotiating with the Russians since Saturday, but said they could not agree to Russia's demands of handing over their heavy weapons in one go. They want to give up their weapons in stages after tens of thousands of displaced people return home. Jordan, where most of the refugees are seeking asylum, has urged the rebels to go back to the negotiating table. Jordan's foreign minister also met with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, in Moscow on Wednesday, urging for a ceasefire. Lavrov said the matter will likely be discussed at the upcoming US-Russia summit. Hawaii has become the first US state to ban the sale of sunscreens containing chemicals believed to be harmful to coral reefs. The new legislation, signed by Governor David Ige this week, will go into effect from the year 2021. Scientists believe the chemicals oxybenzone or octinoxate, which are found in most sunscreen products, are deadly to developing coral and could cause coral bleaching. Sunscreen containing the two chemicals will only be available to those with a medical prescription. Others will have to use sunscreen without these chemicals or buy it elsewhere.
Good morning. The sweltering heat will ease today thanks to monsoon showers. Actually, it's been raining in southern regions since early in the morning, and Seoul will see rain from around lunchtime. And inland regions will see passing showers, but they could come down heavy, while most of the southern regions will see 5 to 40 millimeters of monsoon showers, which should let up by the afternoon. So no burning sunshine or scorching temperatures today, but it is quite humid, topping out at 29 degrees Celsius here in the capital and Daejeon, and Gyeongju will be breezier at 24 degrees. With that, let's take a look at the international weather for viewers around the world. So while inland regions of South Korea will have heavy monsoon showers this afternoon, parts of North Korea will have another day with sporadic showers. And over in Thailand, Chiang Rai will see on and off showers until Friday. Then heavy monsoon rainfall is predicted starting this weekend. And a thick layer of fog has covered Sydney early this morning with low visibility causing traffic chaos in and out of the city. In LA, high surf and a heat wave has sent many to the beach on the holiday, but expect some scorching heat on Friday. And as for South America, Brazil's two major cities will be hot and quite sunny. Taking you to Europe, storms will send temperatures plunging and put the UK heat wave on hold. Lastly, to Africa, Addis Ababa will have unstable weather conditions for a week or so. And that's the weather update for now.
And that's our time at the hour on Arirang News, but keep it tuned for more news updates coming up at noon Korea time. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.
네, 조선시대 궁중요리가 준비되어 있습니다.
도착하시면 바로 드실 수 있으세요. 부드러움과 풍미를 가지고 있는 한우가 준비되어 있습니다.
건강한 한국식 디저트가 준비되어 있습니다.
술맛 진짜 좋습니다.